Hi everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road, and I just wanted to make a quick video. This is going to be more like a reference video because in my card making tutorial videos and tips and tricks and all that, I tend to use the same sizes of cards. I always use this size of card, and rather than taking time in each video to show how I cut the cards, I thought I'd do a separate one and then just reference that. So welcome to the reference video. And I'm going to start with a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. These cards are sized, the fancy name for them is A2, but the dimensions are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You know what, before I do that, let me show you what I've done here on my paper cutter. I don't know how well you can see this, but I've marked my paper trimmer in a couple different areas. This is a Doris paper trimmer, and I really like it a lot. I marked it with a Sharpie. If you have a Fiskars or another kind of a trimmer that's dark, maybe you want to use a white Sharpie or just a few pieces of tape. But I have a number 1 here at 4 1/4 with a line, and a number 2 here at 5 1/2. Those are the dimensions of my actual card. These other lines that I made, this dotted line here at 4 inches and this dotted line here at 5 1/4 inches, those I will show you in this video, but those are what I kind of call it the overlay. And it's just a single piece of paper that lays directly over top of the card, and then this is then what I often decorate. That way if I mess up, I can throw it away and I don't ruin the card base. I cut a bunch of these things whenever I'm in the mood to craft, when I'm trying to get my thoughts together, and I can get a whole pile of the cards and put them to the side, a whole pile of the overlays or the mats, maybe you call them mats, to put to the side. Sometimes I do 5 by 7 sizes, and I'll show you that too, just for the sake of showing you. But more often than not, you're going to see me use this A2 format. It's also important to note that I use, for the card base, I use a very heavyweight cardstock, 110-pound cardstock, and you can always see that on the side. Also, I buy my cardstock in reams. As a matter of fact, this is, I just picked this up at Walmart, and although I've used the Neenah brand as well, and you can see that usually on the end here they show you the weight with 110 pound. That's really nice and sturdy. It also takes well, if you're using it for, if you're using some of it for overlays too, it'll take real nice. It'll hold ink nice, it'll hold gesso nice, it'll hold water okay, but much better than a lighter weight cardstock. So first I slide in and I go to the 1, and I cut this. That first mark again was at 4 1/4. That cuts it directly in half. And then what I do, I have a bone folder. I have a great Stampin' Up! Bone folder, but I also have another, like a plasticky, it's not made of bone, so it's not a bone folder, but it's just like a score maker, I guess. And I put this back in here, and at my number 2 mark, which is 5 1/2, I score it here. And I score it here. Now usually what I do is I'll pull out a big stack of paper and I'll do all my number 1 cutting, all my number 1 cutting, all my number 1 cutting. And then I take the blade out because I'll get distracted. And then I slide them all in and I do all my number 2 scoring, all my number 2 scoring, and I take that all out. And when I'm done, I move this to the side, and then I can fold them all at once. And to me, that's, some people might not like to do that. That's fine. Whatever works for you works for you. I enjoy that because it's, to me, it's a little bit mindless, and then I can think about other things, planning my cards or whatnot. So these are A2 cards. Again, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. They're folded, they're nice. You can open them this way, or you can choose to decorate them this way. and that's fine. You can have a pile and set those to the side. Now the other card size, let me put my blade back, that I make is a 5x7 size. I don't know if there's a fancy name for it or not, but this is how I cut it. I don't have it marked on my paper trimmer because I don't use this nearly like I do the other size. But I always start with the 10-inch mark. 10. I always think perfect 10 when I'm cutting a 5x7 card. I do the 10 first because if I don't, I'm going to get confused as to which way to lay the paper. And that has really saved me paper in the long run, because I'll cut it wrong and then I'll be like, oh, I can't even cut it that other way. And you'll see what I mean. You can only cut 10 inches. This is a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You can only cut 10 inches this long way. There isn't 10 inches to even cut. So if I think perfect 10, and it's going to be perfect if I start with a 10. I go to the 10-inch mark and I cut it. Get this piece out of my way. I slide it down to the 5-inch mark, which I'm trying not to have my head in the shot here. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay, the 5-inch mark right there. And before I even take that paper out, I score it right down the middle. Again, some of you might not do it in this order. It's just the way I do it, in this order. Then when I turn it, then I cut it at the 7-inch mark. Now when I completely take it out of the trimmer and fold it, I know I have a 5x7 and I haven't wasted paper. And I only say that because I have done in the past where, I'll just show you on this plain piece of white. Like if I try to do it the other way and try to just cut 5x7, I think, oh, I'm gonna cut the 7 first. Well, guess what? I can cut a 7 out of this side or out of this side. And then when I get it done, I can't fold it right. It won't, because I didn't leave myself enough room. You need 10 inches to be able to fold for the 5. You need 10 inches to be able to fold for the 5. So start with your 10. It's just my recommendation. It'll save you some headache in the long run. So these are the two sizes of cards that I use, 5x7 and a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you can make a bunch of those and put them to the side. And now I want to tell you about about cutting this overlay, or just the decorative piece. It's just a flat piece. And again, I marked on my paper trimmer with a dotted line at 4 inches and at 5 1/4. That way I don't have to think about it. So I put my regular piece of paper in. You can use the same weight, or if you have a little bit lighter of a cardstock, like a 65 pound or something like that, just something lighter, you can use that too. It really doesn't make a difference. You'll find out as you practice what works for you and what doesn't. And I line it right up at the 4-inch mark, and I go 4 inches, and then I go 4 inches. Get that strip out of the way, but I don't throw the strip out because sometimes I want to write a sentiment, happy birthday Todd, or best wishes Jill, or whatever, and I don't have a stamp for that. So I could physically write it and then cut those strips and put it nice on my card, and it's personal. Then I turn it this way and do the second dotted line, which is at 5 1/4. I can do that pretty quickly, save this strip for the same reasons, and 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. And that's it. And now what I've done is, for these cards that I made earlier, whether I open them this way or this way, I've made a nice little overlay to put right on top. And that way it fits every time. Every time. So when I'm ready to decorate, stamp, paint, ink, jelly plate, even do a little mixed media, whatever, I can reach for these and I don't have to trim later. I know they'll already be fitting on top of that. Now for the other size, the 5x7, I don't have it marked only because I just don't do it as often. So technically you could just go a little bit shy of 5, so 4 3/4, and a little bit shy of 7. 6 3/4. Now that seems to waste a lot. This is our quote unquote waste out of one sheet, but we do have a nice mat that fits perfectly onto our 5x7 cardstock, just shy of like 1/4 of an inch. See, and that's how I do it. Again, you might be able to find a different way to save paper. This is generally the reason why I don't use 5x7 cards, because I end up with so much randomness left over. I still use it, stamping and whatnot, but I like to use as much of the cardstock as I possibly can. So I hope that you find this useful. Again, this is meant to be tagged into other videos so that we can just focus on what we're going to do to decorate the card, or some tips and tricks like that. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helps you prepare so that we can spend a lot more time crafting and a lot less time getting ready to craft. Don't forget to subscribe to Sandpaper Road on YouTube. Click the bell to receive notifications, and follow Sandpaper Road on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Also visit Sandpaper Road on Etsy if you are interested in purchasing items or want to request custom orders. We do that too. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.